What up? I know it's been a few days. All two of you that watch my videos, but I've been trying to keep myself busy. Things have been going pretty good. A little hungover from last night because I was celebrating, but my physique looks pretty good, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's why I have my shirt off. I wanted to not really flexing too hard. I got that going. My health is doing pretty okay. I could be more hydrated, but whatever. I got the job that I've been talking about for a while. I start tomorrow. Uh, I found out last week that I started tomorrow, so I've been really, really, really cranking out uh, the book. I finished my third book. I wrote it in 30 days. I started on January 16th. I finished February 16th. It was a very long process. It was uh, a little bit easier than the other one because it's not as long as Life is Hard When You're Stupid. But I think getting past the length of the book a little bit, uh, not worrying about it being long enough and worrying more about the content of it, uh, really helped me focus on a little bit more important things. I definitely think it's an improvement. I think that a lot of the mistakes that I've learned with writing, I have fixed most of them. With this one, there still might be some repetition. There might be a little bit of awkward pacing, but I'm still learning about that, and I'm really happy. I'm still publishing it through Amazon. I know some people have had problems with the Amazon publisher, but it is free. I cannot really afford a normal publisher. I might go with somebody else sometime, but until I really get like established as a writer, I'm not really going to worry too much about spending a whole lot of money. Plus, I mean, I care more about having the excuse of writing these books, having a means of having them printed out and brought to me, and having friends. Most of the people that are reading this are friends and family members anyway. But yeah, the book is called "Work Faster and Slower: Why You Probably Hate Your Boss." Sorry, my dog is kind of being annoying. He's wanting some attention. But yeah, and it's basically I'm trying to basically get as much as I can out of the lessons that I have learned. I might write a couple more books regarding my experiences in jail, uh, working at a jail, I should say. But this one is purely about leadership and management and the flaws thereof, and how that kind of transposes to other jobs. There are examples of other jobs, not really like anecdotes or anything like that. I wanted to have research and uh, a little bit more information that wasn't just personal anecdotes, but I've had trouble with that. I don't exactly know what I'm doing. Whatever research papers I could find, they wanted me to pay money to have the rights to use it. And I don't know about you, but I don't really want to spend $400 on a research paper that may or may not even give me the information that is relevant to me because the few that I could find weren't exactly what I was looking for. Uh, a lot of workplace dynamics and a lot of research regarding it is normally geared towards negative employees, and the one that I could find that was the closest to what I was looking for was specifically how negative employees and the tolerance of negative employees kind of affect the workplace, which is a valuable thing to look into, but it's not really. I'm looking for more management related research, and I had a hard time doing that, and I don't really know exactly what I wanted to do with that. Um, and it's ultimately a big risk, you know. Uh, it's a risk to pay for research that may even have inconclusive data. And most of this is supposed to be my personal experiences anyway, so it's not that I'm actively trying to educate people through means that they couldn't find themselves. I'm trying to give examples and dynamics through experiences that I've seen and trying to explain it in my own ways, the problems that I see with it. And it's more of a personal opinionated piece anyway, so it's not really there's no real statements that I make that you can really easily research anyway. So it's not it's all opinion based. So it's kind of hard. If anybody knows about that, um, because most of the writing material information that I can find is about printing more books and writing them faster, which against, but a lot of them wanted to just use AI tools and to just have like generic writings. And I don't want my writing to be too generic. You know, I have the next book idea that I'm working on. It's going to be The Power of Influence or something similar to that. I need to really do more research. But yeah, work faster and slower. All of my books are still available. My first two books still have some of the problems. This book is a little bit more expensive because I wanted to have it printed in color. There's a couple of charts and humorous pictures that I made that have a little bit of color in it, and that just costs a couple extra dollars. Regardless of the price that you see, if you buy one of these books, I make like a dollar or two, maybe even three. I can't remember, depending on which version of the book that you get. I make like a couple bucks off each book because it is a free publisher, and because minus the cost of actually printing it, I make like 60% of the profits, which is why they're priced kind of the way they are. It is a little bit pricey. If you are interested, don't waste your money if you cannot afford it. If you are interested, I might be able to have some sort of a code that you can put in. See if I can find some sort of way of arranging that so that we can get a discounted version of the book. Because I'd rather have more people read it, because I don't even have an audience yet, than worry about making as much money off of each book as possible. It's just like the minimum pricing that I had for the paperback was like $15. Like at $15, I was making like 50 cents a book. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna sell a book like $19 or $20 or $19.99 or whatever price I have for it, it like that $2, you know, it makes it a little bit less discouraging. And if you have $15, you have $20, and I want to explore different printing options with that and other publishers about finding cheaper ways of publishing these books. But so far, I mean, if you're willing to buy a book, most people are willing to spend 20, 30, 40 bucks on a book anyway. All of my books are $30 or under, and I would like to keep it that way so that it's not such an inconvenience and such a costly thing. And if my friends and family wanted it, you know, they could reasonably afford it. But yeah, I wrote a book in 30 days. I'm not really going to have a time frame for when my next book's going to come out. I don't have an outline for it yet. I just have the main idea. And most of my writing process is just the general idea, the sub ideas that I have for it. If I'm thinking about it, I'm able to jot down a bunch of things that I could talk about with that particular subject, and it's getting to a point to where like I can't really keep up with the amount of things that I could talk about. That's kind of the area that I want to be in, because then I don't have to worry about the writer's block, and that's kind of how I get past it is by having ideas and jotting them down, and then when I have the time, I dedicate a little bit of time in between each book, or what I want to do is in between each book, I want to dedicate a little bit of time like going through the list of ideas that I had, and like just kind of like reading the subjects, because I have like a basic name or like a basic general idea of what it is, and then I'm gonna have like a list or like an outline. And if it's very, I don't want to say easy, but if I'm comfortable enough and informed enough and confident enough to and have enough experiences and ideas and directions that I want to talk about the subject, to where I can just outline, and you know, if whenever I get to that point, I have like usually pretty quickly like ideas of about 7 chapters, and then as the writing process will go along, it seems to me that I'll have like a couple of extra chapters that I could also include in like some things that I was missing, because the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm talking about a particular subject, I'll type in one chapter and I'm like, oh wait, that's a cool thing, that should be its own chapter because I can think of this and this and this and this and this. And that seems to be working pretty well for me. That's what I did for this book. I like that writing process. The time frame did make it to where I did work on it a little bit more than I wanted to each day, but it kept me on task. And being unemployed for over a month, it did make me feel like I was accomplishing something, and it did keep me busy, so that was nice. It did pressure me a little bit to write a little bit more, and I have my own methods and systems of talking about that. I might make a video about how to... Oh, I think he wants to go outside. Well, anyway, I think my dog wants to go outside. But anyway, I might make a video explaining how to keep on task, how to keep on task with your hobbies and keep yourself doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, and things that you care about enough to where you want to do it but don't know exactly where to start. I know a couple of things about that too. I might even write a book about that, to be honest with you, how to stay on task. One of the book ideas I had was 100 things that you should learn how to do before you die, or 100 random things, random useless skills to learn before you die, something like that, like a Rubik's Cube or something. Just like all of these interesting hobbies and like an excuse to learn more hobbies. I had an idea about that. I had another idea about um, people being demonized and why we have groups of people that we don't necessarily like, and what causes that. And that one's a little bit I'm not quite as informed about, but I think I could muster something up eventually the more I learn about it. I am constantly researching. I'm constantly trying to find out new things. I'm constantly trying to better my writing. This beautiful computer that my beautiful fiance bought me. Um, I liked writing with this computer a lot better than other computers. At first, I wasn't really too sure. Uh, I didn't like that Microsoft requires a subscription to be able to use Word and Excel and all things like that. But my familiarity with Word and Excel made it pretty easy to adapt, I would say. Um, Also, the formatting for this book is a little bit weird. I could not really get it fixed. Again, I apologize. I tried my best. Unfortunately, already have the ISBN for Amazon, so I can't really go through another publisher if I wanted to in the future. Um, but it's just random things like chapter one is it's supposed to have like its own page, like the chapter, and it's supposed to have like a little image or like a little quote beneath the chapter. And some chapters it looks right, and I wanted to have like a buffer page in between chapters so that you knew it was a new chapter, but like Amazon wouldn't let me do that for some reason. Uh, and like for some reason it kept pushing like the chapter title to the bottom of the page and like move the image over, and then it tried to condense everything that I had. So the layout for the book isn't exactly what I wanted. I think it looks better on the uh, Microsoft app, the Word app. But I want to see if I could do a little bit of research. One thing I did like about it is now that I have Copilot and now that I have the editor on Microsoft, it's a lot easier for me to edit these books. I don't have to go on Grammarly or anything like that and say, hey, and copy paste, like, here you go. Can you edit this for me? And then have to do all that sort of thing section by section. It made editing a lot easier. The Copilot made it to where it wasn't able to directly interact with my writing. So all it was just suggestions, which was nice. I think that helped keep you on track too. The Copilot kind of sucked though. I don't really use it too much. Um, Mostly, I tried to use it to get rid of some repetitive sections. I tried to ask it, like what sections I could delete, because when you're working on a large project, and I've noticed this too, is you talk about a thing in one chapter, and then if it's on one subject like management, like it's gonna naturally come up again, and sometimes you say the same thing over and over again, or at least that's what I'm finding out. And I tried to say like, hey, are there sections or redundant areas that I could get rid of? And it basically just kept saying the same thing over and over again. So I just basically said, fuck that. I just edited it, and I read through it a couple of times. And I made sure that reading it was at least a somewhat enjoyable experience. There are a lot of personal anecdotes in this book. There are a lot of prior experiences from my last job in this book. There are no names mentioned in this book, but there might be ranks. Uh, and a lot of the time, it's basically meant to highlight what I'm specifically talking about when I talk about like a certain concept, like a manager telling you something without really thinking about what they're telling you, and then you doing the thing, and then them getting mad at you because you're doing the thing that they're telling you to do, but the things that they're wanting you to focus on, they didn't really explain, or things like that, and it's basically like like this time I was told X, and I started doing X until Y came up, and then when Y came up, it was kind of like a weird situation where I had to either make a decision or ask what they wanted to do, and then it was, like, yeah, the things that my fiance really loved about it was when I was talking about how supervisors want you to make decisions, but they also wanted you to like ask for permission for everything. So it's like you're either asking them for permission and annoying them because you're bothering them, or you do a thing and you make a decision, and maybe there's like some more consequences or more things that you didn't think about, or maybe there's some things that like happen because of that decision that may have been the exact same thing that your supervisor was going to suggest to begin with, but because it didn't necessarily go the right way, they look at you and say, well, you're supposed to bring it to me. Or even if it goes well, but like your supervisor doesn't like the way you deal with it, they go like, well, you're supposed to ask me. And then when you ask them, they're like, why are you asking me this? It's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of making fun of uh, managers. It's supposed to be a criticism of management, and a way for supervisors and managers to help be better at their jobs from the perspective of employees. Because again, when I was trying to do research on this, I noticed that a lot of books, and even one book that my mom recommended to me, was written by managers. It was written by managers for managers, and it's not really conducive to fix your problems if you're only looking within and looking from your own perspective to solve said problems. Again, I think this one's better. I have a similar cover from the hard copy from Life is Hard When You're Stupid. I just changed the color of the circle. I think it's nice and uniform. I think I want to keep it. I accidentally made the size of one of the books a little bit awkward. So if you have a different one, it might be a slightly different size, but whatever. They all should read perfectly fine. The page numbers are actually on the outside of the pages. And there's just a lot of things that I've learned and improvements on, and I want to keep improving. I really, really want to be a good writer, and I really, really want to keep practicing it, and I want to keep publishing these books as I keep getting better. I would love to be a famous author one day, but I know that that's not really the most realistic thing. However, it is nice. It is nice to have these things. It's nice to have a thing that's like, again, one of my biggest dreams was when I was a kid. I wanted to have a book that was written by me. I have this bookshelf over here that's just full of books. I have a bookshelf across my room. There's a bookshelf over there. There's another bookshelf that is behind this wall over here. Even if I don't read it, I love books, and when I find an author that I love reading from, I even if it's not that informative, or even if it's not the most accurate book, I like being able to understand the perspectives and the thought processes that a writer has, and especially recently, that the thing that kind of inflamed this was the Road Less Traveled, a modern guide to conservative values. Which when I saw the title of the book, I was like, I'm not really too sure. It sounds like a political thing. And then when I opened it, and it was like a psychotherapist who was giving his personal experiences and the life lessons he learned from it. That's why I wrote Life is Hard When You're Stupid. It was supposed to be my personal experiences and what I learned from it, and the problems of society thereof. And it was nice. I got to see how he looked at the world, how he looked at two separate issues of similar problems, and came to two different conclusions of why he came to two different conclusions. And it was just nice. It was nice to to see how somebody thought in an earnest way, giving an honest opinion, without trying to really push an agenda. And that's really what I wanted. This one, a little bit of an agenda, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely pro worker. If you don't like the idea of workers, being able to argue back with their supervisors, you may not like this book. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. But it might be something you want to hear, and there might be some experiences in this that might change your mind a little bit. And also, if you're a supervisor and you think and you have problems with getting people to listen to you, I think this is very valuable for you. I think that a lot of the lessons that I learned in getting people to listen to me, and getting people to understand me, and understanding people's problems with what I'm saying, and reconciliating those two things, I think a lot of the skills that I had with that, I tried to impart in this. I want to have more of a focus on that in my next book. That is the book that my fiance told me she said she thinks it's the better idea of all the ideas I had. Is the right now the working title is The Power of Influence. I think that's already taken. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't taken. So it's going to be workshopped a little bit. And again, I don't have an outline, but again, yeah, I wrote a book in 30 days. If you are interested in it, I will leave a link down in the description. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. If you want any material or anything that you're interested in me talking about, whether it's my prior experience working in a jail, or my prior experience being a low-level supervisor in the jail, working out, philosophy, random topics and subjects that I happen to be interested in, like Rubik's Cubes, puzzles, books, and things like that. How to write a book. There's probably better people you can go to for that. Maintaining your personal image, dealing with your own personal problems. I've been doing a lot of that lately. Soul searching. I've been doing that a lot lately. The dynamics between people in conflicts. I've been doing that a lot for the past 8 years. Please let me know. I read every comment that I get. I try to stay on top of it, but I get so little traffic that I'll get like one comment every 3 weeks. And yeah, that's the video. Thank you very much.